Alright, there we go. Everything's set up. And everything looks good here. Oh, one last thing. Always forget something. Sure we can get in. There we go. Let's see. All right. Now that we're in, let's go ahead and go in and we'll continue the Scholasticate quest line. Have a little more bunch of nerds at school, and we're basically going to play Persona in Final Fantasy XIV. Student Body's Revenge? Also, I've completely forgotten all the voices I was using for everyone by this point, so they'll probably be completely different. Ah, Ashran. I was wondering when you'd show up. The Temple Knights have deemed Ula fit to recount the events of her kidnapping, and have taken her into the room just beyond for questioning, with Blazy to accompany for support. Would appear the questioning is done. Let us see what we might learn. Hail, my good man. I am Inspector Briarty, and this is my associate. I understand that you've spoken with Ula regarding her kidnapping. Is there aught you might share with us? Inspector Briarty. Sir Ashran? I fear that it would seem the Lady Ula knows even less of her own abduction than we do. As she tells it, the only people she saw during her captivity were the two thugs now in our custody. We've questioned them thrice over, but they insist their employer had disguised themselves so well they cannot even say for certain if they are a man or a woman, much less give us a description. For what little it's worth, we did learn that the two were once orphans, raised as charges of the sea, to betray the nation that fed and clothed them for a handful of coins. I must return to my post. Should we come across anything of actual significance, I shall be sure to alert you. Lazy, are there any details our friend may have neglected to mention? I fear that Ula's testimony proved entirely unenlightening. There's another development, however, that has been troubling me. Yeah, my internet's having trouble again tonight. Wonderful. That's always a nice surprise. Oh well, hopefully it'll remain fairly stable. Hopefully I can eventually figure it out and get it fixed. Rumors that our combatant was behind the abduction are circulating around the Scholasticate once more. Again with those asinine allegations. At this time, the students seem convinced more than ever of his guilt. No longer content to sit back and wait for events to take their course, they've been pushing for his expulsion. Theo's been doing his best to convince them to disregard the rumors, but it seems any mention of our combatant only serves to fuel their rage. I must hurry back and help him. I suspect this is less a reflection on the prefect himself than a manifestation of aimless anxiety and fear. Still, I dare say this commotion might prove to be an opportunity in disguise. I shall make my way to the vault to continue my own investigations. In the meantime, I ask that you go and keep an eye on the seminarians and an ear to the ground. You know what? Rid of those. Let's see what we have. Nope. Definitely not. Nope. 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 Maybe. And then get rid of the headpiece. I think that'll work for the Scholasticate. Let's go see the kids and I guess try to work out like 20 new voices again. See if I can get any of them even remotely close to what I was using a week or so ago when I did the first part of the Scholasticate. Oh, and new characters too. Wonderful. What if those ruffians truly were in his employ? Are we to stand idly by until he betrays one of us, as he did poor Ula? His refusal to provide us with anything resembling a reasonable explanation speaks for itself. The boy is guilty. I say we move to have him expelled from the Scholasticate, effective immediately. Themacent, I demand that you take lead of this charge. I wonder if anyone actually thinks he's guilty or if this is just a bunch of nonsense politicking again to try and get him out of the running. Like the fury you've come. Since the headmistress called everyone away for an emergency meeting, it's been absolute chaos. They're so incensed they won't listen to a word Theo or I say. Perhaps if you were to speak to them, it would help soothe their angry feelings. Great, so I have to run around soothing people? Wonderful. I don't think a pat on the shoulder is going to work. Second thought, I dare say you have the right of it. Prefect has the riches of House Zamile at his disposal. Powerful allies just waiting to spring to his aid. Let's step back and consider our actions carefully, lest we find ourselves strung up by the necks. So would you suggest we do nothing? The longer we dither without taking action, the greater the risk of him finding us out. When he does, he'll see every last one of us suffer for it, mark my words. He's frightened, as are we all. That's precisely why we must proceed with caution. I guess they really did suspect him, and it's not just nonsense politicking. As rightly observed, if we act out of anger or despair, we only doom ourselves to failure. Please, sir, if you would, rally his spirits as you've come mine own. Yeah, let me shadow box here in front of you. That'll definitely rally your spirits. Of course, it's exactly as you say. Forgive me. My fear got the better of me. Indeed, there's little he can do to us if we act as one and proceed with due caution. Remember, once our combatant is removed from the school, the administration will keep us safe. We need not fear his retribution ever again. We move swiftly, but surely, to ensure his expulsion. Themyscint, can we count on you to lead us? Why? Thank you, Ashran. Now that everyone is feeling more at ease, let us open the floor to discussion. I welcome any and all opinions, provided that they're delivered in a calm and orderly fashion. I believe there's just cause to expel our combatant. As Ashran was so kind enough to point out, however, we should not act brashly. That's why you, Themyscint, with your calm demeanor, are best suited to head our appeal to have him removed. What say you? Really? Let's start acting crazy over unfounded rumors and then force some guy who wants nothing to do with this to represent our cause? The way he's treated you in the past, I can understand why you'd readily assume the worst of him. I can't help but believe, however, that he too is a victim in all this. I strain to think that anyone who cares so deeply about the Scholasticate and its inhabitants could commit such an atrocity. Theo, for the Fury's sake, you defend the very individual who for the past several years ridiculed and tortured us? Is it so impossible for you to believe that he's capable of such villainy? No, it's not. It's not impossible for me to believe that, but all of the evidence that was pointing to him seemed obviously planted to try and frame him. Well, there's proof to say he's guilty. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Theo's right, Lee. I bear no great love for our combatant either. Even the Temple Knights have been unable to uncover a single piece of evidence tying him to the kidnapping. Same knights who have pulled the wool over our eyes for 1,000 years? Stripping us of all we own to protect men like him? How heartening that is to hear. I would have thought that after all you'd endured at our combatant's hands, you'd stand with us. See, I was wrong. No, not stand with you. Be your puppet for you to put all the blame on. Your scapegoat. Seem the commoner has grown too content under the nobleman's yoke to fight for his ideals. We're to see justice served, we must do it with our own strength. Our own voices. Let's draft a petition that our grievances might be heard and the black art expelled. Complete group of nerdy school kids. Like, rally everyone and create a lynch mob so we can write a petition to get him expelled. Definitely a bunch of idiots. I mean, not that I want them to run off planning to murder the guy, but if you're gonna do it, don't act like a half-assed villain. I'd be so blind. The one who kidnapped Ula is playing us all for fools, stoking the flames of hatred that we might all be consumed by them. Okay. Whipping boy. Jesus. Only I could have done more to dissuade them. This blind persecution will only serve to further divide us, and our combatant's expulsion would be a tremendous loss for the Scholasticate. Why will no one listen to reason? Theo, there's still time to turn things around. I'm sure of it. I'll help you in any way I can. Thank you, Blazy, for your kind words. Indeed, it's not too late to reverse the course of today's events. We should try speaking with Father Saturnois. Surely he'll know what to do. Incredible. Despite all of that, he's still intent on saving our combatant. Ash, there's no talking him out of it now. Considering how our last discussion ended, put me much at ease if you would accompany us. I shall be staying behind. There are a few things that I would attend to here. My dear Blazy, if you would, I could do with an extra pair of hands. In that case, Lee, Ashran, let us make haste to the cathedral. The headmistress's meeting will not run forever. We must catch Father Satana before the others do. Oh, wow. A rank S showed up and then was, like, immediately killed. I'm thinking someone just pulled it without bothering to announce it to anyone. Lee Masent, Lee, and Ashran, whatever brings you here in such a hurry? Mayhap it concerns the petition I just received from the student body. Not to worry. Rest assured that I have reviewed the documents and will be submitting it to the headmistress shortly, along with my own strong recommendation in favor of Archimeden's immediate and irrevocable expulsion from the Scholasticate. Seriously? Wait, Father, I'm not here in support of the petition, but rather to argue against it. Cannot expel Archibadon for a crime that the evidence, or lack thereof, suggests he did not commit? Quite true, and yet it is not because I believe him guilty that I have chosen to move forward with this proposal. Then, why? For too long has our church been corrupted by men and women who would see its foundation built upon sin instead of virtue. I mean to put an end to this vicious cycle. Great. What are you saying? Innocently, there's something you must know. When I was young, I too was taken under the wing of Father Chaussat. But it was by his good graces that I gained admission into the Scholasticate, not unlike yourselves. I devoted myself entirely to my studies. I might prove myself worthy of his kindness. My dedication was rewarded when I graduated at the top of my class, secured a prized position in the archives alongside some of the Holy See's most esteemed individuals. It was there that I met a man who had become my closest friend and confidant. For 10 years he had toiled in the sea's darkest recesses, working to see that the ugly truth of Ishgard's past would never see the light of day. Till the day the burden grew too great to bear and he took his own life. For years I was torn between grief and anger, not being able to save him from his fate. Fearing my anguish would consume me, I found succor in my religion. Day and night I'd pore over the scripture. Soon I found myself back in these very halls, not as a student, but as a teacher. Tragic story indeed. You have my condolences for your loss, but what does any of this have to do with Archibadon? Of the Fury's love will all men receive, and by the balance of her spear will all be set free. Doubtless you too are familiar with these words. Those who deny the teachings of Volume 11 commit the greatest sin of all. They must bear full responsibility for the injustices wrought on the victims of our society. Master Archibadon has done naught but scorn the truths penned within the tome. His dismissal is long overdue. This is madness. Fury knows I bear no love for the bastard, but what you propose is to lay the blame for generation upon generation of the Church's transgressions at his feet. I do only what must be done. Countless lives were lost during the Dragon Song War. We must needs purge the Church of any who espouse the false ideal that all men are not born equal, that the sins of our past are never repeated, and that the clergy might be restored to their former glory. I have faith in you, my children. Reflect on the teachings of Father Chaussat. If you do not understand now, you will soon enough. It's true that Father Chaussat is an ardent advocate of equality. Strove always to adhere to the principles espoused in equal under her ever-watchful gaze. It's equally true that Archibald has been outspoken in condemning that selfsame passage. Still, that hardly warrants expulsion. Must admit, the man has a point. Making an example of the son of one of Ishgar's most prominent houses would send a message. Just might be the fastest way to bring about the change he seeks. Whether or not that change would be for the better, however, is another matter entirely. One thing, it was just an angry mob of seminarians calling for Archibald's head. Now that Father Satanaw intends to lead the charge, it's another matter entirely. Whatever are we to do? Personally, I'm more for... This place is supposed to be some great school, seminary school or whatever. It's all supposed to be about truth and the word and blah, blah, blah. Well, fine. If people want to claim that they want to know the truth and bring the truth, then we should bring out the truth. Expose that Satanaw is using this for his own purposes. Expose that most of the students are probably trying to do this to get Archibald out of the running for one of the 3 seats. Of course, Archibald is nothing if not astute. He should have an idea or two on how to extricate himself from this predicament. Come, let's make for the pillars. I don't think I have anything quite like what the Scholasticate kids wear. I might have something somewhat similar, though. Let me drop by the Forgotten Knight really quick. See what I've got. If not, this outfit will work well enough. Let's see. No, none of those. None of those. It's a little too flashy. That's not gonna work. No, I guess I didn't get one. Thought I had picked one up recently that would work a little better. Let's go ahead and set it to Sage to limit it, since I'm planning to play as Sage anyway. That's a very simple one. I don't know when I picked that one up. No, I guess not. That's not terrible. Still not quite right, though. Forget it then. This'll work fine. What was that one? Oh, Imperium, yeah. Still haven't done that. I think it's actually down. Or no. No, it's here. What baseless accusations would you care to hurl at me this time? Attempting to destroy the church? Perhaps you're here to bring the light the personal hand I had in instigating the Dragon Song War. Perhaps instead of entertaining every ridiculous rumor you hear, you might actually make yourself useful for once. You can start by questioning those two beside you. After all, they're the ones who arranged this entire farce and have been spreading these letters in a pathetically transparent attempt to incriminate me that I might be expelled. Please listen, Archibald. We know that the accusations being leveled at you are unfounded. I know we've had our differences, but today we come to lend our aid. So full of rage, and scarce hear a word I say. Please try to soothe them. Uh-huh. There. Let me pat you on the small of your back, because I'm tiny compared to you. Don't make me laugh. You would expect me to believe that you, the two who stand to gain the most from my expulsion, have not so much as seen the nonsense that's being making the rounds in the dormitories? The truth revealed. Archibald Zamael, a kidnapper? Trust me, were we to try and implicate you in a crime you didn't commit, we would have done a far more thorough job than this. Indeed, its writings simply make an appeal to emotion. Not a single piece of concrete evidence to support the accusation. Fine. Perhaps it wasn't you two after all. Still, you rest assured that when I get my hands on the commoner that did this, they'll rue the day they were thought to meddle with the affairs of House Zamael. Just realize we commoners are not the ones on trial here. You are. I suggest you watch your tongue unless you would prefer to lose the only allies you seem to have these days. Don't lose heart, Archibald. Together we'll uncover the truth and see that this baseless petition against you is withdrawn. Why would I need your help? My innocence is beyond question. No one cares, dude. No one cares. People are driven by emotion more than logic. You can make appeals to logic all you want. You're an idiot. No one's going to believe you because they all want you gone. So they're all going to say whatever they need to say to get you gone, whether you're a kidnapper or not. It never ceases to amaze me how people can not understand that. When you're in someone's way, they're going to say whatever they have to get you out of their way, whether it's real or not. My innocence is beyond question. The Fury herself will see my good name restored. Pray that she will. In the meantime, we too shall do our part. Fury's sake, Theo. Leave it be. That aside, where these papers even come from? Why didn't we receive one? If I had to guess, perhaps they were given only to those most inclined to believe the accusations. Foolishness at best. If anything, these letters will only give me the clues I need to identify the coward behind them. As a matter of fact, I believe I know precisely where to begin my search. Brilliant. We'd be more than happy to assist you in the investigation. Where would you have us go? And hand you the very knife you would put in my back. You think me daft? If the petition is approved and I am expelled, that would put you right at the top of the class. How very convenient. Archibald, don't you see? It's not for awards or accolades that I study the scriptures as I do. Seek only to follow in the footsteps of Father Trousseau. It was he who granted me the chance to achieve the grand vision he had for the realm, and bring relief to those in need of spiritual succor. Of the Fury's love will all men receive. By the balance of her spear will all be set free. I would share the wisdom of these words with all of Ishgard. Volume 11 of the 72 Articles of Alonic Polity. What is it with commoners and their obsession with that over-idealistic screed? Maybe the fact that you've been stomping on their throats for 1,000 years? Maybe that's why the one and only scripture that talks about equality for all people is the one that the commoners love so much. Idiot. Come, our combatant. Let us not waste any further time entertaining the idle musings of the riffraff. Look, we can manage just fine without your help. But if you do find anything, not that we expect you to, you'll report back to us if you know what's good for you. Understood? If I didn't know better, I'd almost say that sounded like a thank you. Well, if there's nothing else to do here, I suppose we should set to work. Excellent idea, Lee. Now, where do you propose we should start? Fury save us. Hello. Oh my god. Am I seriously gonna get Briar Dean's emote? Oh, I didn't even know you could get his emote. And his glasses, of course. That is so great. Yep, they actually look pretty good. We could only track down the author of the letters. Oh, jeez. And convince them to recant these statements. The student body would have no choice but to withdraw their motion. But where would we even search? Yeah, pretty much. A brilliant plan, Ashran. By examining all the letters that have been distributed throughout the Scholasticate, we may very well find clues leading us to the culprit. Settled then. Let's return to the Scholasticate and commence our search. I think I may be going a little too deep for Lee. Like, he's still a young guy. Not a grown man. I think the gravelly and gruffness of his voice makes sense, but not quite so deep. Thank goodness the Warrior of Light has this special vision that allows him to just hone in with sparkles and everything on anything of importance. Theo's already apprised me of the situation. Not that he needed to, mind you. It is for that very reason that I remain behind with Blazy, to investigate the origin of these nasty rumors flying about. It didn't take long for us to connect the rumors to the letters and coax one of the seminarians to show us the document they had received. Investigated further, and behold, these are all the ones I managed to collect in my search thus far. Under normal circumstances, the baseless invectives penned here would hardly suffice to convince anyone. Would seem, however, years of harbored animosity have blinded people to their better judgment. Yes, in fact, Gramova and I have been gathering letters all afternoon. Feast your eyes on this. One of the girls said that the letter just showed up on her bed, as if out of nowhere. I returned to my quarters to check if I had received something similar, but there was nothing to be found. First I thought it was a simple oversight. After asking around, I learned that there were more than a few others who, like me, had been overlooked. So it seems that whoever is spreading these knows the people at the Scholasticate well enough to know where these letters would do the most harm. Right? They're not even bothering to leave copies of these letters with people that would investigate it or wouldn't believe it in the first place. Definitely an inside job. Suspicious letters? What are you talking about? I've not received anything of the sort. That's interesting. Or maybe not. Sorry. I don't know where Janchette stands on this whole thing. Now you mention, however, I did observe some of the seminarians tossing out crumpled slips of paper. Yep, these are the letters you seek? Though if enough people were actually tossing them out, maybe they're not getting them just to the right place to do the most damage. Maybe they're just specifically avoiding the people they think would investigate it? Ashran, did your search prove fruitful? Excellent. Let us take a closer look and see what we could discern. How curious. It would appear our culprit has gone through the trouble of writing and distributing 3 distinctly different versions of the letter. First reads, as illustrated by the recent abduction that has taken place within these sacred halls, our combatant will stop at nothing to eliminate those who stand in his way. Such blatant disrespect of her teachings must not be tolerated. Second, it's one thing to disagree with the opinions of your fellow seminarians, quite another to abuse one's influence to have your ideological opponents removed. Ula, a firm believer in the teachings of Volume 11 of the Articles of Hellenic Polity, and staunch advocate of equality, fell victim to our combatant's treachery. The villain cannot go unpunished. And last, Ula's copy of Volume 11 was discovered in the prefect's room shortly after the girl's disappearance. This, more than anything, proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that our combatant is guilty. Okay, now that's interesting. That is interesting. Because I believe we covered that fact up. Like, we could all tell that was obviously planted to frame him, so we covered that part up. Which means our group, the inspector, our combatant, and his friend, I can't remember that guy's name, whatever his name is, the other Elizan that's always walking around with him, and the person who planted it in the first place, if it's not any of those former people, were the only ones that knew about the fact that Volume 11 was found in his room. So the letters definitely don't seem to be from some random person who's just taking advantage of this. It's probably from the same person who planted the book in the first place. Not that I really suspected anything less. I mean, this is a quest line. I expected it to be as dramatic as possible, not just some random person writing up these letters to capitalize on this situation. Well, the final letter at least offers an argument. It's hardly a compelling one. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but aren't there several copies of the Articles of Hellenic Polity sitting in our library shelves? Why can't I speak to why our combatant would have one in the first place? While I can't speak, the book found in his quarters could have been any of those. Lazy, when you spoke with Ula earlier, did she mention anything about Volume 11? I didn't think of anything at the time. Anything of it at the time. While Ula was recovering in the infirmary, she asked that I retrieve her copy from her room. When I went to look for it, it wasn't there. Which would mean the tome was removed unbeknownst to her. So it would seem. After all, she testified that when the 2 thugs seized her at the marketplace, she had nothing on her person but a pocket of gil. Presumably the book was still in her quarters then. It'd be one thing if the book had disappeared with Ula. For someone to sneak into her room and remove it after the fact. It's as if the culprit intended to use it to frame our combatant all along. I bet my last gil you're right. And that's the reason none of us received a letter. We're the only people who would be able to confirm with Ula that the book had been pilfered from her room. Who would go to such great lengths to frame our combatant? That's our Theo, always striving to help his fellow man, even if that man is all that stands between him and the top of the class. Enough to leave a girl smitten, isn't it, Blazy? Amavois? Oh my god, he is such a bro. Like, always flirting with girls, but also Blazy's a little off limits for him. And that doesn't mean he's not gonna keep talking up Theo for her. Trying to hook the two of them up. What are you talking about? I'm not smitten. I just admire him for his kind heart is all. Uh-huh. Lazy, why ever did she dash off like that? Has she taken ill? In a manner of speaking. I'll go and make sure she's okay. Dear. Whatever it is, I hope she recovers quickly. In the meantime, we need to put our heads together if we hope to get out of this mess. Ashram, what do you think? Why would anyone go to such lengths to implicate our combatant? Our combatant doesn't strike me as the kind to bring some devious plan of implicating himself in order to do whatever. He seems genuinely fairly stupid, privileged, and pissed at what's going on. Of course. Don't say the kidnapper, him or herself, would have such a strong motive to concoct this convoluted plan. It raises the possibility that the kidnapping was not but a plot to have our combatant expelled in the first place. In other words, if we can track down the person behind these letters, we'll have ourselves the culprit behind Ulah's abduction. We must inform Inspector Briardine straight away. He's currently conducting an investigation at the vault, you say? Let's make our way there with all speed. Nope. Okay. Oh, right up there. I thought the vault was on the other side. Wait. Here's Kramavois. Where'd Blazy get off to? Oh yeah, the vault's not on the other side. It's just upright straight in the middle in the north end of the town. That's him, over there. Oh, it's you. What brings you all the way here? You have something to report. I see. Show me these letters. I shall determine if they are as suspicious as you insist. This is everything we've been able to find. The author goes out of his way to mention that Ulah's copy of Volume 11 was found in our combatant's room. The fool. In his feeble plot to frame the prefect, he has only incriminated himself. I trust that you, too, have put the pieces together. You have proven an able associate, indeed. It is from here, however, that the real work begins. Should at any time you begin to feel your powers of concentration waver, or your attention to detail slip, you need but do this. Take a deep breath, focus your eyes into the distance. In that moment, the solution will appear before you. So that's why I'm getting the glasses and the emote. It's like, this is how you focus yourself. The game is afoot. If we intend to win the day, we must remain vigilant. Now, let's get our man. Yay! Emote specs. Oh, I already have glasses. If I remember correctly, though, I really don't like these ones. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of those ones. I will, however, use the inspectors. I don't like the big round ones, but these oval-shaped ones aren't as bad. Not the best ever, but still, they're pretty good. You actually have to type it all out, spectacles. Oh, it's not his emote. That's interesting. It's not actually his emote, it's a little more cocky. Rather than just the straight up, let me adjust these that he always does. Well, okay then. There's the Scholasticate quote. Nice. I mean, it's a little pointless to get it now at the end of the quest line when I wanted to wear it during to make it look right, but oh well. Makes sense, video gamey wise, why you would get it at the end of the quest line though. Life and Lies of Father Satinois. Before we begin pursuing our man in earnest, answer me this. Can any of you tell me where Ula's copy of Volume 11 currently is? The letters say it was found in our combatant's room. Though for all we know, that could be complete and utter bollocks. Ash, I see you've managed to keep your word to Le Bressois. Very good. Oh, I didn't even tell them, did I? Oh, he's right. It's been like a week I'd forgotten, but I didn't even tell these guys about the fact that Le Bressois found it in his room. Allow me to enlighten the rest of you. The tome is currently in my possession. Le Bressois discovered it in our combatant's room. Turned it over to us in secret for fear it would fuel the ongoing rumors. Now, knowing what you do, it's time to put your minds to the test. What do you surmise is the relationship between our talented writer friend and the thief that lifted the book from Ula's quarters? Bum ba bum ba bum. No. Has to be related in some way. Because he needs to know that someone lifted the book from her quarters and planted it in our combatant's room. But that's the thing. I don't know if they're supposed to be one and the same. I don't know if it's supposed to be the same person or just accomplices. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Accomplices. That's how it goes. That's how it be sometimes. Sensible deduction. Planting of the book in Archibald's quarters, the subsequent distribution of these letters were both carried out to a common end. To implicate the prefect in Ula's abduction and force his expulsion. would stand to reason that the perpetrators are either working in tandem or in fact are one and the same. Yeah, so he doesn't know either, honestly. But yeah, it's one of those two. It's either one person did both of these things and maybe just doesn't know. Or does? I honestly don't know. One person either did both of these things and may or may not know that we'd actually found Ula's book by now, since we kept the whole thing secret. Or that there are two people working together, because whoever it is had to know Ula's book was taken and planted in Arkaben's room. While that in itself does not reveal the identity of the culprit, it does lead us to our next question. Who would have been able to enter and exit Ula's room unnoticed? The perpetrator was able to move quickly and not draw attention to themselves, in the act, leading me to believe that our book snatcher had easy access to all rooms within the dormitory. How, you might ask? Keys. Something only 3 people currently possess. Father Saturnin and the prefects Archambaddon and Lebersois. So one of them is the culprit. One of them is the culprit. But which could it be? I mean, it all serves Father Satanas' ends. I don't know. I was really iffy about Lebersois when he was the one who found the quote-unquote found the book in Archambaddon's room and for some reason told us about it, right? That he might have been trying to get rid of Archambaddon. But I'm not so sure anymore. This all does seem to fit right into what Father Saturnin wants, to just get rid of Archambaddon and all of these idiots that would, you know, try and keep the status quo. I know, it was Archambaddon. Think about it, it explains why he was so adamant in refusing our help. What sense is there in him stealing the book when the only thing it would serve to do is implicate him in a crime he may not have even committed? Well, then that leaves Lebersois. As the only other person aside from the inspector and Ash came into contact with the book, I'd say he's a prime suspect. It certainly is suspicious, but what motive could he possibly have? If only there was a way we could glean the answer. Ashran, I hear that you possess a great gift, one which you employed to reveal long-hidden truths, yep, the Echo, about our nation. Might you not be able to use this power to shine some light on the... Bro, I don't use this power. This power uses me. I don't use the Echo, it just happens sometimes. Some light on the matter at hand? Yeah, the Echo just sort of happens, Theo. I don't say I want to see this person's past. It just happens. So it's not yours to control. So that means we'll need to rely on our own wits to obtain the answers we seek. Fortunately, I have an idea of my own, but I'll need your help to see it through. Well then, Theo, let's put this idea of yours into action. Last I heard, Archambaddon and Lebersois have taken refuge in Zemail Manor. Let's make our way there post-haste. I'll leave it to you to see that the bumblings of those 3 do not interfere with the final stage of my investigations at the vault. But do not tarry long. With Father Saturnin throwing his full support behind the petition, Archambaddon has but a few bells before his name is permanently struck from the registry. I shall do what I can to see that the proceedings are delayed, but I cannot guarantee it will buy us all the time we need. Godspeed, Ash. I'll see you at the hearing. Bit of a long run. Maybe I should have just teleported. Whatever. What the heck? You guys even doing? Findings? Ah, as if anything you four managed to dig up could help me now. The hearing is about to begin. My fate is as good as sealed. There's still time, Archibald. Earlier you pledged your innocence to us. Let us pledge it once more, at the hearing. For one and all, truth shall speak for itself. The truth? You expect those fools to see the truth when this evidence to the contrary is staring them in the face? How do you think this plan your pea-sized minds have concocted will succeed, where all Lebersois' best attempts have failed? It will succeed, Archibald. It's not just I that stands with you, the hero who brought to light the truth behind our very nation. Yes, there's nothing that he has not seen. Yeah, I've seen a lot. In fact, I've seen so much my eyesight's gone bad. How do you like my new glasses? Surely you understand the implications of this, don't you, Lebersois? Ashran has the ability to peer into events of the past. Indeed, it was through his visions that Ishgard's true origins were brought to light. You need say no more. He has already used his vaunted power to see that I was the one behind it all. Yes, it was I that kidnapped Ula. It was I that snuck into her room and stole Volume 11. And it was I that distributed the letters, so also that I might implicate our combatant. How satisfying it is to finally be able to say it out loud. Yeah. No. That was too easy. I'm not saying Lebersois not involved in this. I don't think he's just going to spout this nonsense for no reason. But I am saying they were accomplices, not one and the same person who did both acts. They're working together. For so long I have had to plot my revenge in silence, and mask my hatred of you with hollow praise and bashful smiles. Lebersois, what madness is this you speak? You truly are oblivious, aren't you? Allow me to enlighten you. For all the transgressions your family has committed against mine, do you truly think I would remain loyal to you? For centuries your house has humiliated us. It was something we'd come to accept. When the wall between the nobility and the common class came tumbling down, we were met with the most harrowing truth of all. All our suffering had been for naught. Everything we grew up believing about our status was a fabrication. Tall tales spun to keep us complacent. In reality, you're no better than the two broom rats beside you. You never were. It was a terrible realization, one that also gave me hope. Hope that you could be taken down just as any other. So when I began plotting, Nula's abduction, the letters, the rumors they spurred, all was part of my master plan. Bring shame and dishonor on you and your family as you have mine. I've staked everything, yeah, even my freedom. But it was worth it to give you a taste of our pain. What's more, I bribed the two kidnappers into abducting Ula with money from your purse. Having entrusted the management of your finances to me, you never suspected a thing. Francois, I can only imagine the pain you've endured, but to seek revenge in this way? Nevertheless, I thank you for confessing to your crimes. Now we can absolve our combatant of the false charges brought against him. Wait a minute. I mean, he didn't actually see into the past. You deceived me! Yeah, dude. And your point? You really think you're gonna get through Krabavois and Lee? If you recall, Theo never explicitly said that Ash had a vision of what happened to Ula. Merely observed that he possesses such an ability. You walked right into it. Truth be told, it's not even a power that can be controlled at will. Don't tell him that. He's a crook. No reason to tell him how my power works. Let him just mull it over in prison. Now then, Archibald. Suppose that's all the proof of innocence you'll need. Let's escort Leversois to the hearing and have him repeat his most dramatic confession before the headmistress. I never saw it. The hatred, I mean. How could I have been so blind? Been friends since childhood. Never for a moment did I question his loyalty. What a fool I was. However did I think I could stand at the forefront of our nation, so oblivious to that which was happening under my very nose? Archibald, pray do not torture yourself so. Rather, open your heart and allow Halone's wisdom to set you free. Once you come to see Leversois not only as your friend, but as your peer, I promise the both of you will find a way to mend the bonds that have been broken. Wow, you're an idealist. You're one of the biggest idealists I have ever seen, Theo. Of the Fury's love will all men receive. By the balance of her spear will all be set free. You truly believe these words, don't you? You cling to them, even when reality does all it can to prove you wrong. Suppose it is that unwavering faith that your friends find so endearing. Now then, it's time for me to put my own faith to the test. Face my fate head on. May the Fury have mercy. So, what are we waiting for? We have a hearing to attend. I'll meet you two there. Something I must confirm with the inspector first. Ashra, I cannot shake the feeling that this affair runs far deeper than any of us could have imagined. You would please accompany our combatant to his hearing, and see to it that nothing goes awry in my absence. It is back at the cathedral. Okay, teleport. Scholasticate Deacon, huh? I must say, Master Labersois, I'm extremely disappointed. Anyone, much less a student of our upstanding establishment, would commit such atrocities. Truly at a loss for words. Mistress Elvienne, if I may, do not find the timing of these confessions to be incredibly convenient. It's as if Master Lebersoir here has been coerced into admitting to crimes he himself didn't commit. Let's not rush to condemn a man who may very well be innocent. That's sweet coming from someone who is happy to condemn an innocent man for his own reasons. Luckily, the inspector will undoubtedly walk in going, "Haha, I've unearthed your crimes too, Saturnois. Arrest him," right? Let's also keep in mind that this incident will have repercussions that extend beyond the Scholasticate. This trust of our church has never been so high. If we were to expel either one of our prefects, both of whom have strong ties to House Samael, lose any credibility our establishment still has in the eyes of the citizens. To this end, I would propose an alternative plan. The full disclosure of this scandal to the public, together with an announcement that St. Endelim's Scholasticate will be temporarily closed. This past time, we pushed for a full reformation of the school and its curriculum. Uh-huh. And there it is, the confession I've been waiting for. Uh-huh. You're under arrest. Confession. Mr. Bryodine, explain yourself. From the start, I had my suspicions that someone was pulling strings behind the scenes. Someone who had secured a high enough position within the clergy to manipulate the students and the system. I pored through records, closely examining any who fit this description. It's no easy task, but I finally found what I was searching for. Combined with the confession Themis obtained from Lebersoir, I was able to uncover the true culprit. God, straight up like, objection! Phoenix Ray, like, pose. Speak of you, Saturnois. I do not call you father, for you are no priest. The documents admitting you into your current position were all forged. You manipulated Lebersoir into carrying out what you yourself could not. You stirred up discord among the students and fomented the people's distrust of the clergy in the hopes of creating an even greater rift between the people of Ishgard and the clergy, all in hopes of seeing the Scholasticate closed down once and for all. But I don't understand. Why would Father Saturnois seek to ruin the Scholasticate? The answer to that would lie in his past. Over a decade ago, Saturnois graduated top of his class and was welcomed in the ranks of the Holy See. It was there he was assigned to work as an expurgator. Expurgator. Excuse me a second. I don't know what that means. A person who edits a text by removing obscene or offensive... Oh, it's a censor. Okay. An old school medieval, like, era-esque, basically censor. Edit text and remove offensive words or passages. Oh, alright. Okay then. Expurgator? What are you talking about? All my years serving the Holy See, I've never heard of such a post. I would be more surprised if you had. Our holy body of decency, sector that is comprised of a few select individuals, is perhaps the best kept of Ishgard's many secrets. Its existence is known only to a handful of people beside the Archbishop himself. I am impressed, Master Bryadine. It would seem your reputation is well deserved. I must correct you on one account. I am no expurgator, but rather one of the so-called watchmen consigned to guard them. Do you want to fight? That said, we shared a similar fate. Both expurgator and watchmen alike were struck from official records and confined in the bowels of the Holy See, damned to live out our lives in the shadows as pallid husks of the men and women we could have been. Also that someday we might fulfill one task. Where written records were deemed too dangerous, expurgators would serve as living documents, orally passing down our nation's greatest secrets. When the time came for the Archbishop's successor to ascend the throne, we would briefly emerge from our isolation to pass from our mouths to their ears all we knew of Ishgard before sinking back into obscurity. Of course, no high-born man or woman would be condemned to this fate. No, this was a destiny reserved for commoners, orphans with no ties to the world above. 7 hells. So if the truth hadn't come to light, Theo and I... Yeah. Men and women forced to sacrifice their own lives, that our nation's darkest secrets might be preserved forever unbeknownst to her people. I scarce believe my ears. Father Satana, the friend you spoke of. Yes, he was an expurgator. Such anguish did his duties cause him that he chose death over that wretched excuse for a life. While a new era is upon us, one that does not condemn the innocent to a life of despair for the sake of one man, it does not undo the justice of 1,000 years. It's to right the wrongs of the past that I escaped that foul dungeon and made my way back to the place where it all began. This twisted institution, a place responsible for stealing the bright futures of young orphans, needs to be closed down for good. Dude, literally no one in this room had any idea of the place you were talking about. You could have just brought it to light. That was an option. This whole new era thing, you could have just told people what was being done to the orphans, but no. You decided, let's burn it to the ground and dance in the rubble, piss on their graves. Father Satana, your actions are heinous. I can in no way condone them. As said, if there is truth to what you say, perhaps it would be best for us to suspend all lessons until we can reach a consensus as to how we might proceed. Headmistress Elvienne, not closing down the Scholasticate be akin to evading our responsibility as men and women of the clergy? It's our duty to speak the truth, not bury it. Too long the people have been fed naught but lies. It's time we took the initiative, gave them reason to put their faith in us once more. Must agree with Themison. As I have learned firsthand, we must take care never to abuse our power and privilege, lest we hurt the people closest to us. Keep silent, be to repeat the mistakes of our past. The only way we can move forward is to take responsibility for our actions. Make an earnest effort to reach out to those we have wronged. While we may never receive forgiveness, at least we can attempt to atone for any anguish we may have caused those that did not deserve it. If it is true that all men are born equal, as I have heard so many in this room preach time and time again, then all are entitled to know the truth. Let us lead by example and freely share all that we have learned here today. Father Sentinel, I cannot pretend to understand your ordeal or soothe the fury that has taken hold in your heart. I can promise you one thing. I swear on Father Trousseau's copy of the Parables of Saint Danaphen, that not you nor any of those who shared your fate will ever again be forgotten. Dude, everybody was right. The Scholasticate is an amazing questline. All was laid bare before the public, the atrocities suffered by expurgators and watchmen alike. Missed that. So it was that a new path was forged that day, one that would see a renewed faith in the Church and its teachings, where the citizens would come to learn all men should be regarded as equal, not only in the eyes of Halone, but also by one another. Yeah, dude, every bit of that was like... Every single part of the Scholasticate is like, hey, Yoshi P and the guys played Persona last weekend. We have an idea for the game. Ashran, thank you for restoring peace to the Scholasticate. You reminded us that there is a world beyond these doors. There lies as much upon us as we do them. You've opened our eyes and shown us that destiny is but the choices we make. If we're strong and persevere, I have no doubt we can rebuild the Scholasticate and regain the people's trust. Ash, now that your work here is done, I suppose the time for farewell is upon us. Will you be departing Ishgard immediately? It's sad to say farewell, but let's send you and the inspector off in style. Woo! College party! Let's get drunk! Oh, not that way? Come on, guys! Ah, there's my trusted associate. I feared I might not be able to bid you a proper farewell before I left. On behalf of my uncle, allow me to thank you for all your hard work. Still so much fighting and bickering going on. Couldn't you stay with us for just a bit longer? I fear that there are more pressing mysteries that demand my attention. Not to mention a certain young lady in Ul'dah who awaits my return. He's been seeing her while she's in prison or whatever. That's nice. Oh, another client of yours, I take it? Actually, not a crook that he fell for. Theo, is your head screwed on backwards? He's talking about his... Tactless fools, the both of you. I suppose you're nothing if not sincere, eh, Theo? While I admit that naivete is one of your more endearing traits, combined with the blunderings of the idiot beside you, it's like as not to bring the Scholasticate to ruin. That's why you'll need someone with extensive knowledge of the affairs of Ishgard, and the proper connections to actually bring about the change you seek. Someone like me. Oh, man. strange bedfellows. Words of a man looking to steal his way into our dear Theo's heart. Lazy Lee, it seems you've got competition. Grandpa, such a jackass. He just loves drama. Fury take you all. Call me what you will, but Theo would never replace me with anyone, much less a conniving snake like our combatant. How refreshing it is to hear such playful banter among my friends. It would seem our worries are finally behind us. Before we celebrate, however, there is one last thing. Lazy, I'd like to thank you for your support. Were not for your meticulous notes and sharp eyes, Ula would still be missing. Probably not, but it definitely helped. I look so goofy with the glasses. They actually kind of look good, but in a really stupid and silly way. Ashra, Inspector, words are not enough to express our gratitude. It was only because of you that we were able to unmask the perpetrator and restore peace to our school. Just as Father Chausseur brought you to us in Gorgain Mills, I cannot help but feel Halone guided you to us in our time of need. Hope to one day repay your kindness by rebuilding the Scholasticate. When next you visit, we hope she will have retaken her place as the nation's top establishment of higher learning. Once again, serve to light the people's way back to the halls of Halone. I wonder if there will be more Scholasticate quests already. Or if maybe I'll have to wait till I get into Stormblood and there will be another series of Scholasticate quests. Or if maybe that's all there is for it for now. I honestly don't know. Our fair nation has seen her share of tragedy and turmoil. I take heart knowing that there are those such as yourselves to watch over her. See that she does not stray from her course. Till we meet again. Later, everybody. Now give me one of those cool coats. I'd say you could call what I just went through a decent hell week. Now give me one of those cool coats and let me in your fraternity. Back to School number 3. Is there a title with that one? Yep, Of the Holy Body. No. Not that. That. There we go. The pants don't really work with it. I need something darker, I think. But I don't have it right now. Anyway, this and these are going in my glamour dresser, or yeah, not the armor, glamour dress. All right, that's it for the Scholasticate stuff for now. Are there anything new? No. Ooh, hiccups. Oof. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything new for the Scholasticate for now. Maybe there will be new stuff in Stormblood or something. But for the moment, actually, let me drop back down to the Forgotten Night. Let's see. What else should I do today? I was working on ARR relic grinding earlier, but that's really not all that important to show on screen. Maybe it's a decent way to pass some time for the rest of the stream tonight. So that's the Scholasticate done. The quest from Matoya's Brooms, that's one of those ones that doesn't give you any actual indications of where to go or what to do, really. So you have to listen to the quest. I don't think I want to do that on like half a stream left. I think I'd want to start a stream with that and focus on it. The Hildebrand stuff and the Alexander stuff I don't want to do yet because I want to use a specific class and I need to level that up. Could do more Sky Pirate stuff, but I'd really like to do that with my friends because the big raids are kind of fun to do as a group. Could mess around with the Restoration and Diadem stuff, but a lot of that seems like you could just do it off stream because it's long and it's not really all that interesting. Let me check something after I put my stuff away. There's another series of like, oh, whoops, not there. There's another series of like not super important but side quest type stuff that seems to have some pretty decent story to it. The thing is, it's meant as kind of like an epilogue and sort of like a where are they now kind of thing for a lot of the Heavensward characters. So I don't know if it's actually available yet or if I'll have to wait until I finish 3.5 to see that one. Okay. Time to... Yeah, I don't think I'm going to use this one. We'll do... Where's... There. Not really. The Expeditioner gloves could work. Thavnarian gloves, I think, work a little better for that. Definitely darker. Definitely, like, dress-up stuff. No, not that. That could work. I think that works better. Yikes. Nope. Yeah, actually. Maybe change the pants to something else, though. Nah, too shiny. I guess that'll work. I'm not a huge fan of the vertical stripe sock things that are sticking out, but that's not too bad, actually. And then the glasses. There we go. There's my Scholasticate outfit. How about these? You won't be able to even see this, will you? Yeah, no. Won't be able to see that. Might be able to see the rings, actually. Yep, because the hands are showing. About that one. Oh, which I can't actually even use, because you have to be level... Wait, all classes level 60. Oh, because the ring I have on isn't a level 60 ring, I don't think. Oh well. Then I'll just do that, but not on the right hand. It really doesn't look all that good. It's like the blue is bleeding into the rest of the ring. That one. There. That'll work. I just stuck the brand new ring in there because I don't need it for any of my classes anymore. They're all level 30 or higher. But it's like a unique ring. It's not tradable or marketable or anything. So I thought, hey, maybe I should hang on to this one. Like as glamour, if nothing else. But honestly, it doesn't look that good as glamour. So if I can get access to this quest line, it should be here. at the Fortemps Manor, I assume, because it's a Fortemps manservant who gives it to you. Knights. Knights. Yeah, I may not have access to it yet. Can I go in?